Hey everyone! Welcome back. Today we're doing something really exciting. We're building a PC from scratch. But this isn't just a list of parts. I'm going to guide you step by step through the assembly, explain why each component was chosen, and share tips and little stories along the way. Think of it as building a PC with a friend, helping you avoid common mistakes. So grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's get started. By the end of this walkthrough, you'll know exactly how to assemble a PC, understand why each part matters, and gain confidence to tackle your own build. Component overview. Here's what we're using for this build. CPU cooler, TR Assassin X120R, digital ARGB cooler, PWM, quiet, compatible with AMD AM4 AM5 and Intel LGA 1851 1700-115X 1200. RAM, Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR for 32GB 2x16GB 3200 MHz, CL16, supports Intel XMP 2.0. CPU, AMD Ryzen 5 3400G, 3.7 GHz boxed version with integrated Vega graphics. SSD heatsink, Thermalright TR-M.22280 TYPA-B, aluminum heatsink for M.22280 SSDs, with thermal pads. Motherboard, asrock b450 MPR04R 2.0, micro ATX board with multiple M.2 and SATA ports, good VRMs, compatible with Ryzen CPUs. This setup balances performance, affordability, and reliability, making it perfect for general computing, light gaming, and learning PC assembly. CPU, AMD Ryzen 5 3400G. The Ryzen 5 3400G is the heart of this system. It has 4 cores and 8 threads, running at a base frequency of 3.7 GHz. Being an APU, it includes Radeon Vega graphics, which is excellent for those who don't plan to install a discrete GPU immediately. Why this CPU? It's efficient, capable of multitasking, and handles light gaming without trouble. Pairing it with the TR Assassin X120R ensures quiet and stable operation. Assembly tip: handle the CPU carefully. Align the triangle on the corner with the triangle on the motherboard socket, drop it in gently, and lock the retention arm. It's a delicate step, but doing it right avoids bent pins or other problems. Motherboard, asrock b450 MPR04R 2.0. The motherboard is micro ATX, solid, and reliable. It has 4 DIMM slots, 2 M.2 slots, multiple SATA ports, and decent VRMs. This ensures stable power delivery and even allows moderate overclocking. Step 1. Install the I/O shield in the case. Step 2. Place the motherboard on the standoffs and secure with screws. Tip: snug is enough, do not over-tighten. A little patience here goes a long way. RAM, Corsair Vengeance LPX 32GB. Next, the RAM. This 32GB kit, 2x16GB, runs at 3200 MHz. It's sufficient for gaming, streaming, and multitasking. Tip: use the motherboard manual to choose the right DIMM slots for dual-channel mode. Insert the sticks gently until they click. That satisfying click means the RAM is seated correctly. Enable XMP in BIOS to run at the rated speed of 3200 MHz. Without it, the RAM will default to slower speeds. CPU cooler, TR Assassin X120R. The TR Assassin X120R comes with ARGB lighting and dual PWM fans, keeping the CPU cool and quiet. Steps: install the mounting brackets on the motherboard. Apply a pea-sized drop of thermal paste on the CPU. Place the cooler and secure it. Connect the fan headers to the CPU_fan pins. Make sure the cooler doesn't block the RAM. Watching the fan spin with the ARGB lights is oddly satisfying, and it's one of those small joys of building a PC. SSD and SSD heatsink, Thermalright TR-M.2. NVMe SSDs can heat up and throttle under load. The TR-M.2 heatsink keeps it cool. Steps: Insert the SSD into the motherboard slot at a slight angle. Secure with the mounting screw. Place the heatsink on top, pressing it firmly onto the thermal pad. Check clearance around the M.2 slot. Some boards have tight spots near the GPU or VRMs. Power supply, PSU. Choose a PSU rated for your system, ideally with an 80+ efficiency rating. Connect the 24-pin ATX cable, the 8-pin CPU cable, and any SATA power for storage or fans. Cable management tip: route cables neatly with zip ties or Velcro straps. Good airflow improves cooling, reduces noise, and makes upgrades easier. Assembly tips and tricks. Screws, snug, not tight. Test components outside the case if needed. Use anti-static precautions. Take photos during assembly for reference. Take short breaks to avoid mistakes and fatigue. BIOS setup. Power on and enter BIOS with Del or F2. Enable XMP for RAM. Verify CPU speed and RAM frequency. Check SSD detection. Configure fan curves for quiet operation. Keeping BIOS updated ensures better compatibility and stability. Final assembly and testing. Close the case, connect monitor, keyboard, and mouse. Power on and watch the post screen. If no beeps occur and all components are detected, the system is good to go. Run stress tests or benchmarks to check stability. Monitor CPU and SSD temperatures. The cooler and heatsink should keep everything under control, even under heavy load. Post-assembly observations. This build is well balanced. CPU and cooler keep temperatures low. RAM is fast and responsive. NVMe SSD with heatsink maintains high performance. Motherboard allows future upgrades. Tidy cable management ensures airflow and quiet operation. Maintenance and upgrade tips. Clean dust filters regularly. Monitor temperatures with software. Upgrade RAM or add a discrete GPU as needed. Keep BIOS updated. Conclusion. Building a PC is both technical and creative. Take your time, enjoy the process, and treat each step as a small achievement. This build is quiet, efficient, and future-proof. By the end, you'll not only have a functional PC but also the confidence to understand and maintain it. 1. CPU, AMD Ryzen 5 3400G. Let's start with the heart of the system, the Ryzen 5 3400G. This is a 4-core, 8-thread APU that comes with integrated Radeon Vega graphics. That means you don't need a separate GPU to get started with gaming or general computing. The base clock is 3.7 GHz, boosting up to around 4.2 GHz, which is plenty for multitasking, productivity, and light gaming. Why this CPU? Integrated graphics save money and simplify builds. Efficient power usage keeps temperatures low. Supports a wide range of motherboards with AM for socket. Installation tips. Always ground yourself or use an anti-static wrist strap. Look for the small triangle on the CPU and match it to the socket triangle. Drop it gently into place and secure with the retention arm. A quick anecdote: when I first installed a CPU, I was nervous about bending pins. After careful placement, I realized that taking it slow is more important than rushing. Patience is everything in PC building. 2. Motherboard, asrock b450 pro4 2.0. Next is the motherboard. This micro ATX board is reliable, affordable, and versatile. It has for DRAM slot supporting up to 64 GB of DDR for RAM. 2 M.2 slots for NVMe SSDs and multiple SATA ports. A VRM design that keeps the CPU stable, even under moderate load. Installation steps. Install the I/O shield in the case first, don't skip this. Place the motherboard on the standoffs, making sure every screw aligns. Screw gently, over-tightening can warp the board. Extra tip: check fan headers. The CPU_fan header is for the CPU cooler, and system fan headers can be used for case fans to optimize airflow. Proper fan setup is critical for cooling and noise management. 3. RAM, Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR for 32 GB, 2 by 16 GB, 3200 MHz, CL16. Now let's talk about RAM. We're using a 32 GB kit, which is excellent for multitasking, content creation, and gaming. The speed is 3200 MHz, with CL16 latency, which ensures quick responsiveness. Why this RAM? Dual-channel operation boosts memory bandwidth. XMP support allows easy overclocking without manual settings. Low-profile heat spreaders fit even with larger CPU coolers. Installation. Check the motherboard manual for dual-channel slots. Insert the RAM sticks gently until they click. Enable XMP in BIOS to run at full speed. Pro tip: always check clearance between RAM and CPU cooler, especially if using taller modules. Some builds fail to boot simply because the cooler blocks the RAM slots. 4. CPU cooler, TR Assassin X120R. Next is the TR Assassin X120R cooler. This cooler has dual PWM fans and ARGB lighting, making it both functional and visually appealing. Cooling performance. PWM fans adjust speed automatically based on CPU load. Quiet during idle, effective under stress. Keeps temperatures well within safe limits for the Ryzen 5 3400G. Installation steps. Attach the mounting brackets to the motherboard. Apply a pea-sized drop of thermal paste on the CPU. Place the cooler evenly and screw it down carefully. Connect fans to CPU_fan headers. Tip: make sure the cooler airflow aligns with the case exhaust fans. Orientation affects performance. 5. SSD and heatsink, Thermalright TRM.22280 NVMe SSDs can heat up under load, which reduces performance. The TRM.2 heatsink prevents thermal throttling. Installation. Insert SSD at a slight angle into the M.2 slot. Secure with screw. Attach heatsink ensuring thermal pads contact the SSD. Extra tip: check for clearance if you also plan to install a GPU. Some motherboards have M.2 slots close to PCIe slots. 6. Power supply and cable management. Choose a PSU rated for your system, ideally with an 80+ certification. Connect the 24-pin ATX and 8-pin CPU cables first, then SATA power for storage and fans. Cable management tips. Route cables behind the motherboard tray. Use Velcro straps or zip ties. Keep airflow paths clear for optimal cooling. Good cable management isn't just aesthetic, it reduces dust accumulation, improves airflow, and makes future upgrades much easier. 7. BIOS setup and optimization. Once powered on, enter BIOS with Del or F2. Enable XMP to get RAM to full speed. Check CPU and RAM detection. Configure fan curves for quiet operation. Optional, update BIOS for improved stability and compatibility. Extra tip, many users forget BIOS updates, but they can solve weird boot issues and improve performance. 8. Testing, troubleshooting and maintenance. Test post and check component recognition. Run stress tests for CPU, RAM, and SSD. Monitor temperatures with HWinfo or Risen Master. If there are problems, reseat components, clear CMOS, or test parts individually. Maintenance tips. Clean dust filters monthly. Monitor temperatures and performance regularly. Upgrade IM or GPU when needed. Replace thermal paste every 2 to 3 years for best cooling performance. 9. Final thoughts. Building a PC is both technical and creative. Take your time, enjoy each step, and treat each small accomplishment as a victory. A properly built system is quiet, efficient, and expandable for years to come. Watching your build come alive for the first time is incredibly satisfying, especially knowing you did every step yourself.